So what if a t-shirt could do more than just, be a t-shirt? What if it could actually harmonize your energy and even neutralize radiation? Well, we're going to dive into a scientific report that looks at exactly that, a piece of clothing with some pretty out there claims.
At first glance, there's nothing special here, right? It's just a plain, dark-colored t-shirt. You probably walk right past it in a store. But according to the people who made it, there is a lot more going on under the surface.
And when I say a lot more, I mean we're talking about claims that sound like they're straight out of science fiction. We're not talking about your typical moisture-wicking fabric here. We're talking about manipulating energy fields. We're talking about neutralizing radiation.
Now, that all sounds pretty wild, doesn't it? Well, it turns out a company actually paid for a formal investigation called Project P70 to see if there's any measurable truth to these incredible claims. So let's get into what that report actually says.
First things first, who were the main players involved in this whole investigation? So here's the setup. You've got an American company, Leela Quantum Tech, and they hire an Austrian research group, BESA. The whole study was spearheaded by the association's president himself, and they used a small group of 8 anonymous people as their test subjects.
All right, so what was this t-shirt actually supposed to be doing? What were the big claims?
This is where it gets really interesting. The report splits the claims into 2 totally different camps. On one side, you have the stuff that's based on pretty standard material science. The silver in the fabric blocks radiation, it's antimicrobial, that kind of thing. But on the other side, well, that's where we get into something they call quantum energy.
And here's the core concept, straight from the client. They're saying this quantum energy is somehow infused into the shirt, and when you wear it, your body can just absorb it. They use this term quasi-bioavailable, which is really just a technical way of saying your body's energy system can tap into it.
Okay, so you're probably wondering, how in the world do you test a claim like that? Well, the report details a very specific method they used called bioenergetic system analysis, or BESA for short.
So, according to the report, BESA is a way to measure a person's energy system by taking readings from specific points on the body. And here's the crucial part. The researchers claim this method is completely objective. It's supposed to measure the energy directly, bypassing whatever the person is thinking or feeling.
The experiment itself was set up in a pretty clever way, you have to admit. First, they get a baseline energy reading for someone. Then, they hit them with a stressor, like an electromagnetic field. They measure the negative effect of that stressor, and then they have the person put on the shirt and measure again to see if it makes a positive difference.
Now, if you're wondering how this is all supposed to happen, well, get ready. The report offers a pretty wild theory. It suggests that information travels from the t-shirt's hyperspace to the person's hyperspace. I mean, it sounds more like something out of Star Trek than a biology textbook, but that's the theory they were working with.
So to make this manageable, they broke the whole investigation down into 4 specific tests, with each one tackling a different claim.
As you can see, they covered a lot of ground. They tested its effect on electrosmog, its ability to neutralize actual radiation, and even its impact on chemical stressors. And that last one, wow, that was the big one. They looked for a general energy boost and, get this, improved function of the body's organs and chakras.
So after all these tests, what was the end game? What was the whole point of this exercise?
It really all boiled down to one thing: getting a stamp of approval. The entire project was basically an audition to see if the t-shirt could earn an official seal of approval from the institute doing the testing.
And to put it in the report's own powerful language, the ultimate question was whether this piece of clothing could take a body under stress, what they call a negative pathological state, and actually flip it into a positive state. I mean, that is a really bold claim for a t-shirt.
You know, this whole report really leaves us with a huge, fascinating question. In today's world, with all this new wellness tech making these incredible claims, what do we even count as proof? When you have these unconventional methods testing these really unconventional ideas, it makes you stop and think about how we define evidence in the first place.